Okay, so this is Coach D with 40 Fit. I'm here at my practice, Rehab Therapy Specialists of South Lake, and what I saw recently with a couple athletes was, and as you know, I posted some information on developing shoulder mobility, which will help your front squat, your overhead squat, pull-ups, everything. But I also noticed with a couple of male athletes specifically, you won't see this problem as much with female athletes just because of the lack of mass and size with musculature around the elbow. Not that there aren't a lot of muscular women out there, but with men, and especially older guys, over the age of 40, you'll see sometimes some elbow joint tightness. And this is actually tightness based on muscular attachment, but also just ligamentous capsular tightness of the passive structural elements of the elbow. And so if you're able to get into the front rack position, the front squat front rack position, and when you get in that position, you can achieve at least 70 to 80 degrees of wrist extension and good shoulder flexion to 90 degrees, and you can basically pronate that hand into a good position, a flat platform for the bar. Then sometimes what can be the culprit is basically just the elbow, because that joint sits right in the middle of obviously the wrist and the shoulder. So what happens is if the elbow is tight, the actual joint itself, the attachment sites of the bicep, the tricep, the extensor musculature of the forearm or the flexor musculature, then what happens is the wrist takes a pounding. The small bones of the wrist and the small ligaments of the wrist are not designed to handle heavy loads at the very ends of the range. And what happens to some athletes that haven't developed good, strong ligamentous development or tendinous tie-in is the wrist starts hurting and they think it's the wrist mobility. Well, it might be if they don't have adequate wrist mobility, but a lot of times the elbow is the culprit. So I'm going to show you a real simple stretch that myself and another athlete went over yesterday morning for the elbow. And when you stretch joints, and you're not necessarily stretching tight musculature, you're stretching ligamentous components or interarticular components, you're going to have a different feel of a stretch. It's going to feel like the joint wants to pop almost. Don't force this stretch till it hurts. If it's hurting, then you're stretching too hard. If you come out of the stretch and you notice that the elbow hurts, you stretch too hard. So you're going to do 3 to 5 stretches with a 30-second hold. And here's how you're going to do them. Basically going to take a pad or something that you can put on the bar, put the bar at least at shoulder height, and you're going to put your hand in a mid-grip position, neutral position, right at the edge there. Don't put it in the palm and don't put it right here. Just put it right there at that wrist bone area, okay? And then what you're going to do is keeping the elbow tucked in and the back nice and straight, you're just gently going to lean until you feel a gentle stretch or a stretch at the elbow joint. You got to keep everything locked in the midline to get an adequate stretch. You hold that for 30 seconds and then come back out. You're also going to do that same stretch with the palm facing the bar, not in the palm because we want to take the wrist out of the equation, not at the wrist because we don't want to put it right on the carpal tunnel, but right there in the pad of the hand, okay, and do the exact same stretch. Do that for 2 or 3 weeks. See if that helps to improve that front rack position, getting that flexion of the elbow like you need. So there's another helpful hint to develop more mobility for the upper extremity. Have a great day.